Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Let's get it going. Let's get this intro going. I'm a little, a little upset tonight. What's up, faithful? How we feeling? The Niners took a loss, a big loss, an ugly loss, 44-23. I thought the Chiefs were about to drop a 50 burger on the Niners, and I was not. I was not happy. I was not. I'm not happy now, but could you imagine 50 points? I mean, 44 was bad enough. Holy smokes! We have to discuss it. We have to talk about it. I know everybody's upset, and rightfully so. This was an ugly game. I mean, you had all this stuff going for you all week. The hype, right? You went and traded for a CMC, which I think will be a great move in the long run. Um, National Tight End Day. Trent Williams is back. Jimmy Ward was back. Nick Bosa was back. All the players were coming back. It was hype. The alumni weekend, Bryant Young Hall of Fame ceremony. Jim Harbaugh was in there. Joe Montana. Jerry Rice. Everybody was watching. It was a hype situation. Patrick Willis, Navarro Bowman. Oh my God, what a hypeful day. The crowd was rocking. And the Niners laid an egg. An egg. Woo! Laura says TikTok boy tore that defense apart. Can you imagine, like, Juju Smith looking like Jerry Rice? McCall Hardman making big plays. Jerick McKinnon made big plays. God. What's up, Niner by Nature? Says Debo hit that like button. Not today's Debo. He wasn't even there. But he says the defense can't carry the offense every week. And we've talked about it every single week. If the Niners fail to start scoring points, the defense is going to get tired. They're going to get hurt. And then they're going to be a letdown. And that's what's happening. Nick Bosa can't put the whole team on his back every single week, especially coming off a groin injury. Charvarius Ward, same thing. Dre Greenlaw out there hurt his calf today. And Fred Warner, I'm sorry, I love Fred Warner. He's getting paid a lot of money, and he's not playing great. He did not look really good today. Missed tackles, bad coverage. Travis Kelce, he just dog-walked him. Travis Kelce was able to do whatever he wanted today. It was like, do you guys realize Travis Kelce's one of the best players in the league, one of the best tight ends in the last 2 decades? It's unbelievable. Travis Kelce had his way with the Niners. They couldn't find a way to stop him, and it opened up everything. Hardman, Juju, it was bad. Defense was, like a leaky faucet. They couldn't stop anybody. They couldn't stop a bloody nose. And then the offense just sputtered. Missed opportunities. Turnover in the red zone, interception. Jimmy being Jimmy. It was ugly, and I feel bad. Christian McCaffrey, he probably wished he was in Carolina. They got an upset win today. Like, he was a bright spot. Christian McCaffrey is going to be great, and he's, he only was on the team for 2 weeks, 2 days. 2 days since Friday. He came in and played pretty good. I feel like he could have played a little bit more. I know they were trying to limit him. He looked good. There was like a couple 3rd down and 3 plays where I'm like, just toss it out to McCaffrey. They couldn't stop him early in the game. Same thing with Deebo Samuel. Where was Deebo? I didn't even hear his name called. Like, maybe one time, Deebo didn't get the ball much. He's getting paid $71 million. You need to give him the ball. Bottom line, you need to give Deebo Samuel the ball. Put the ball in your playmaker's hands. Put the ball in the playmaker's hands. Whew. Billionaire Benji says, Andy Reid is what people think Kyle is. And that's the thing. Andy Reid has become a phenomenal head coach. And as much, praise that Kyle gets, for being this offensive mastermind, he sputters too much. I know Andy Reid did early in the season, couldn't win a big one. But, man, like, this game was just frustrating. You have all this talent. You only scored 23 points. You cannot beat elite teams. You're not going to be able to beat elite teams by scoring that many, like, that little points. We've said it for weeks on weeks. If you want to beat tough teams, you have to score points. And what did I say all week? I said if the Niners are going to beat the Chiefs, they have to keep it close, and it's going to be like a 27-23 game. or 27-24. That's what I felt. And it was, it was working a little bit. They just let the levee break. Field goals. They couldn't score touchdowns. They had too many mistakes, self-inflicted wounds every single week. It's like the same story, different week. You turn the ball over. You can't capitalize on turnovers. Sam Womack, brilliant play, muff punt. He picks it up. Opportunity right there. Get yourself back in the game. Interception. You're ruining your opportunities. It's frustrating. Sad Niner fans. Is Pete Carroll making the Seahawks look good with less? Kyle does less with more. And that is frustrating, sad Niner fan. And that's a big point. The Seahawks are now in first place in the NFC West. I get it's still early. Like, it's still a lot of game. But that's concerning to me because we all thought the Seahawks were going to be bad this year. Their talent doesn't look good on paper against the Niners. You look at the Niners roster and you're like, how are they losing games? Kittle, Ayuk, Debo, CMC now, and Trent Williams. And then you got guys like Bosa and Warner and Greenlaw and Ward. It's crazy, the talent we have. And they're 3-4. Seattle is above the division, 4-3, the only team with the winning record in that NFC West. And that's concerning because in order to make these playoffs, I think you have to win the NFC West right now. If you're in this division, I think the only way the Niners are making the playoffs is winning the NFC West. Right now, the way it looks, because the NFC East right now, they have 3 top teams that could probably make playoffs, right? And everybody else in the NFC, it's kind of weird. The NFC South is not doing great, but whoever wins their division probably makes it. And same thing with the NFC North. The Packers are not looking good, but the Vikings are looking good. So if the Vikings stay and win that division, they probably make it. So it's going to come down to whoever wins these divisions. It's not going to be an easy, NFC West dominating the league anymore. They're just not. And we got to win these games. Bottom line, I know the Chiefs game is an AFC opponent, but it doesn't matter. You got to win these games. And those early games, losing those early games to the Bears, Atlanta, it's going to come back and cost them, Sad Niners fan says the Niners have the players, but the coach is holding them back. What do you guys feel? Do you guys agree with this? Do you feel that Kyle is holding this team back? I've talked about it. I really feel like maybe he's just over his head right. He's stressed. I think teams are figuring him out. And I get it. CMC's there, and he's going to be great, and I think they're going to turn things around. But you can't lose too many games. And I know everybody's going to say, hey, we were 3-5 last year. They can do it again. I keep telling you guys this. You cannot just repeat 3-5 every year and make it to the NFC Championship. That's hard to do. Eventually, it wears you down mentally. It's not easy. And I know everybody wants to say, oh, we were 3-5 last year. It's not a big deal. That is kind of a big deal. You cannot do it again. It's not easy. And if they do it again, holy crap. They've defied the odds. But eventually, if you're a betting man, if you're, a guy that studies statistics, eventually the law of statistics is going to catch up with you, Panda says they need an offensive coordinator. We've talked about that, right? The Niners definitely need an offensive coordinator at times. Like, Kyle is doing so much. It's just too much. You sometimes just go out, and we've said this so many times, go get an OC, take some pressure off your head, and live to see another day. Like, you're just trying too hard. You go get an OC, it's going to take pressure off your plate. I don't know. A lot of coaches have, it's not a bad idea. I know you're this genius, but just if you go get an OC doesn't mean that you're not less of a genius. You know what I mean? It might be an ego thing. Oh, man. Billionaire said teams are better this season compared to that season. 3-5 is not going to work. It's I don't know. Like, I know a lot of people are going to say, if we do get to 3-5, which I don't know. I think we can beat the Rams next week and go 4-4. But there's a reality where the Niners go 3-5. You can't just expect them to turn it around again. I mean, I would hope they would, but it's not a guarantee. Zao says, put D'Amico a head coach. Honestly, everybody deserves to get called out. Hey, we're calling out Kyle, but D'Amico didn't have a hell of a game either. This was his worst game as a defense coordinator. But people have bad games. Kyle has had a lot. D'Amico definitely didn't make the adjustments. His players did not come out and execute. They couldn't generate any pressure. I think Arik Armstead's a massive loss. I don't think people are talking about the loss of Arik Armstead enough. Very bad. Very bad. D'Amico had a horrible game. I still think he's a great defensive coordinator. I still think he's a great, coach. But yeah, definitely, if we're going to single everybody out, if we're going to sit here and throw blame, you got to give the defense some heat, and it starts with the coaching. So I agree. 1-30 when trailing in the fourth. That's an ugly record. If the Niners are down in the fourth, Don't expect them to win. Is what you're saying. Miguel says, I believe our rest of the season is winnable. It is if they execute. It is if they execute. And I don't disagree with that. The team is talented. Like, we know this team can win games. And we know they could do it like last year. Go on a run. Go on a run. There is winnable games. But at the same time, they've lost winnable games. So it's not, you can't just sit here and guarantee it. Like, there is some level of disconnect. There is some level of maybe panic setting in. I don't think it's time to panic yet, but if you look at the schedule and if the Niners continue to play like this, you're not beating anybody with scoring 21 points a game. You're just not, you know? You're playing against other professional football players. Like, you're going against other teams that have phenomenal players too. Just because the Niners look great on paper doesn't mean that they're going to beat everybody, you know? You can be paper champions all you want. But you got to go out there, play the game, and put the results on the table. So I know we have winnable games, but also we've lost winnable games. And they have to execute. And they're making the same mistakes every single week. The penalties have got to stop. These penalties are just absolutely out of control. On offense, that whole line, it's like big play comes up, and they call it back. Like the Jeff Wilson run. There was a big Jeff Wilson run, huge play, call back. Mike McGlinchey. Let me talk about Mike McGlinchey. He's one of the culprits of a lot of the issues. He played on an injured calf today. He didn't look good. He doesn't look great to begin with. Played injured. He just looked bad. Just looked bad. Nia Perez says they're undisciplined. 100%, that is the word. Undisciplined. Undisciplined. You know, Chris says the team gives up when they are losing. You can tell. Do you guys agree with this? This is a good comment. Do you guys think that the Niners just give up when they're losing? Do you feel like they just stop? Like, just stop fighting? It kind of feels like that once they get kicked in the mouth and they're not the bullies anymore, they get a little irritated. They kind of like stop fighting as hard. I kind of see that. Honestly, Chris, I feel like that's a true statement. Like, I don't know if they give up because nobody gives up. But at the same time, like, when they're kicked in the mouth and they're down and out, I feel like they just don't fight as hard. I don't want to sit here and believe that they give up because nobody wants to hear that. But it kind of gives you that vibe. It's like once they're kicked down in the teeth, it's like, should we even, fight back? It's like when you play a bully, right? Because the Niners are bullies, they're a physical team. When you step up to a bully and you bully the bully, and they kind of look back like, okay, we're in over our head. If you ever been bullied and then you bully the bully, they're like, oh shit, I might need to turn around. You know what I mean? It's kind of what the Niners do. Art A says the head coach is soft as butter. Is the butter in the oven? That's even softer. You're right. I don't know, man. Kyle doesn't have that aggressiveness. It's the same. It's a common theme. Erica says the team gets deflated. That's a good way. That's a great word. Deflated. That is a great word. They get deflated when they lose. That is a very good comment. They do feel like they get. It's like the wind gets knocked out of their sails, and they get so out of their element. And it starts with the coaching, because I've said this before. Like when they make a mistake, when they make a blunder, like for example, Jeff Wilson Jr. last week when he fumbled. He didn't know where to go with the run game. And it's like the same issue. When something monumental happens, when a big mistake happens, it's like they can't brush it off and move on, right? And that's what makes a good team. You're going to make mistakes. You got to be able to make a mistake and move on. Look at Patrick Mahomes, right? Throws an interception. Talanoa Hufanga. Great start to the game. Interception. Patrick Mahomes, all right, whatever. I'm going to throw interceptions. And he came right back. And oh my God, Patrick Mahomes had a killer game. The Chiefs put up over 530 yards of total offense. Patrick Mahomes was blazing us. I mean, he was cooking it up. He looked like Chef Curry with the pot. Patrick Mahomes was him today. He threw an interception early in the game. Didn't phase him. Jimmy Garoppolo throws an interception, and he completely fell apart. The offense fell apart. That's the difference. You're absolutely correct, Erica. They get deflated. When a mistake happens, they fall apart. This is such a good comment. 100%. I agree. Put tennis balls on our O-line's hands at pride. Whatever we need to do. Larkus says we need Armstead for sure. Armstead's a big loss. Honestly, yeah, we take him for granted, man. I think Armstead being injured is huge for his defensive line because they were running they were gashing. CEH, Christian Edwards-Helaire, Cook City. He was cooking it up. He was balling. Christian Edwards-Helaire was cooling it. Jerick McKinnon made an impact play on us. I was done. When I saw McKinnon get that big play, I was done. I wanted to turn the TV. I was done. I was done. Damien, what's your take on Debo getting stopped on runs? They definitely figured out the Niners. I know they think they. I feel like they know their tendencies, and it's not taking anybody. You know, it's not taking anybody out by storm. You know, it's not like confusing anybody. Usually when like last year, it was like this whole thing, and it was like, oh my god, it was like a revolution. Debo's running out of the backfield. Oh my god! Now they don't even do it that much. So when Debo's lining up, he's in motion, and they hand it. Like teams know they're gonna do it. Teams know. Like they don't even give this man jet sweeps. They always do the same 3 plays with Debo. It's a screen play. It's some weird little motion gadget toss play or a slant. That's literally all they do with them. They used to be so creative with Debo. They just don't get creative with Debo, and teams know it. The moment he gets the ball, they just stack the box on him, double him up. They took Debo out of this game. I didn't hear his name called at all, and that's disgusting to me. He's getting paid $71 million, and he didn't even make a blip in this game. His name wasn't even called, except maybe one time. They definitely need. You're paying this man so much money, and you're not even using him. We got a guest coming in.
Hey,
there he is, Big Fatty Daddy. How we doing? Welcome to the stream, man. How you feeling, Vlad? What's up, Vlad? What's up, man? How you
heartbroken,
feeling?
Bro. Heartbroken. That's what it is. That's what it like. Listen, I've been like, I get it. If you just started watching the Niners a few years ago, there's a lot of young kids, like social media, you're blowing up. I get it. I've been watching, I've been following this team since I was 7. Like I was a kid. You know what I mean? So I've seen it. I've seen it all. I've seen Mariucci and Rattay and Brandon Lloyd. I've seen it come and go. Listen, this team has all the talent in the world. You can't name me player for player, depth for depth, a more talented team in the NFL. So when they come up short or when they look like this, it's not the players, it's the coach.
Yeah. We've said this a lot, Vlad, and I know a lot of people still don't want to
I get it because you when you're a young dude, when you're in your teens and you're a young guy and you see it, or you're in your early 20s and you're like, bro, what about Chip Kelly? Forget about Chip Kelly, dog. Tell me about Tim Rattay.
That's what I'm saying. This is the thing.
You
Vlad,
don't understand.
To go off what you said, to dovetail off that is, yes, okay, everybody is saying over the last couple years, oh, you lived through Jim Tomsula and Dennis Erickson and Chip Kelly. I get it. Those were bad coaches. Kyle Shanahan should be better than those coaches because we know they're bad. So it's not like this revelation. So it's, you know what, man? We've been through this shit for 6 years, and now we're digging ourselves deep into a hole. We're starting tough. This 3-4 start. Can the Niners dig themselves out? Yes, they've done it. Can they fight adversity? Yes. But it is so hard. You fight so hard to come back out of the grave, and you make it to the playoffs. If they're going to battle, they're going to fight themselves into this playoff position. They're going to be battered. They're going to be bruised. They're going to be mentally. They're just going to be so exhausted. Digging yourself into a ditch and then, fighting hard to get there. That takes a toll on your body. And this is a reason maybe to get hurt every year. Something's got to change. This is a great comment by Fios. It says, what is talent if you don't have coaching? 100%. It's execution on a weekly basis. They're not executing.
Every week they come out flat. You beat the Panthers. You stay on the East Coast. You come out flat against the Falcons. That's coaching. You have all those penalties in the first game of the season against the Bears. That's coaching. You only score 14 points and a half. That's coaching. It's not talent. It's not George Kittle's fault. It's not Jimmy Garoppolo is Jimmy Garoppolo. anyone in the NFL, you listen, I get it. There's guys like Niners cast that just they love him. They adore him. I get it. I get it. He's very handsome. I get it. But at the end of the day, it's what you see on the field. And any coach in the NFL, you see his limitations. So what do you do? You coach around him, dog. It's been 4 or 5 seasons. You got to coach around his limitations. What does Kyle do? Same shit. What does he do? He's just pounding his head against the wall. I hope the front office isn't as blind. I hope they see it. And they make if it's money, the Yorks are made of money. They have all the money in the world. Pay a guy like Sean Payton, have him come and take over this roster and watch what happens.
And that's
if I'm wrong, like Kyle's not going to do it. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, and this is the thing, man. All the comments are saying the same thing. We're past the Jimmy talk. We have bigger problems. Like Jimmy's Jimmy. Obviously, we're not going to sit here and expect a masterclass from Jimmy. We know what
Come on.
You know what you have with this guy. If you're a coach, you can coach around it. You have Kyle Juszczyk, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk. You brought in CMC. You got Deebo Samuel, and just scoring 23 points it's not enough. The Chiefs are a dynamic team, and obviously, I know defense was an issue too, and we'll get there too. But come on, man, offense. The Chiefs have one of the worst. They probably have the worst defense in the NFL.
It's a sieve.
23 points against the worst defense, and they had injuries too. We want to talk about injuries. The Chiefs had injuries too on their defense. Like they were talking about how many of their cornerbacks were out. We couldn't do anything. Mike McGlinchey couldn't stop a nosebleed. Like Trent Williams got dog walk. Safety, that was ugly, and it just trickles every time. Every time, just the wound gets bigger and bigger. You have Deebo, you're not utilized. Like, yo, man, I get it. We have this team, and we love Kyle because he's this offensive guru. But is he?
No, he's not.
I think the league
he's not.
Not getting creative. It's still the same plays. When he goes off script, he's not the best coach in the world. And one thing too that we got to look into is, like you said, you can bring in Sean Payton or whatever. You can insert Coach A, B, whatever you want to do. They take over this roster. If it's a great coach, they can win. It's like Jim Harbaugh when he came to this team. They had a hell of a team. They had players in place. He helped navigate this team, and that's what it takes. Sometimes you just need a fresh start. And I don't know. I don't know if Kyle's the answer because it's been 6 years, and we're still sitting here looking at it going, how are we losing these games, man? If you're an elite team, you got to win these games.
He's not. And
it's great,
not,
but
it's not a player either. It's not like, oh, we got CMC. Replace CMC with Derrick Henry, with Shaquan Barkley, with whoever you want. That's not the problem. The problem isn't talent, people. Are you like, and that's why I hate the media, like like when they wax him and they say he's a genius, like compared to who? Who's he a genius compared to? Not a genius compared to people I know. He's not a genius. He's a football guy whose father won 2 Super Bowls after he gave up control of the front office. He gave up control of the team. He got 2 Super Bowls because Terrell Davis and a great front office. Then he got control back, and he lost. It's mediocre for 10 years because it's the same thing. Kyle, because they think they're smarter than everyone. Kyle's never going to get out of his own way. He's never.
You're right. 100%. He's got an ego. He still doesn't get an offensive coordinator. Like, you need help, bro. Like, just admit it to yourself. I know you were an offensive coordinator. I know you think you're this guru, but get yourself some help because he's doing way too much. In the comments, they even said, once the Niners fall to a deficit, it's hard for them to come back.
They're great, about it.
But they hardly have a lead. 10-0. They were up 10-0. You blew another 10-0 lead against the Chiefs. So that's a wound that's gonna dig, for a while. Like, it's just embarrassing, man.
It's crazy because here's the thing. Here's the worst part about it. If you look at the roster, the Niners roster from 2019 to 2022, it's almost the same. There's some pieces different, but it's the same roster. The Chiefs have redone their whole team. There's a couple of players that are the same, but most of the team is redone, and Andy Reid has made the adjustment.
They lost Tyreek Hill, arguably the best receiver in the NFL, and they seem like they're a better team. Come on, man. They lost Tyreek Hill, and they put up 44 points on us. Dude, come on.
I'm just saying.
JM in the chat says Kyle is not the problem. Well, you tell me what the problem is, because Kyle is one of the problems. I'm going to tell you right now. I get it. You love your boy Kyle, but he may not be the answer. They're struggling. They need to figure something out. I mean, he got the name because of his dad, but hey, he's just not cutting it right. Maybe, again, if they turn this around, all these crows right now, he is not. Discipline. They're not being just too many penalties, yellow flags all over the place. That's a coaching aspect, man.
I hate when people say, well, it's not Kyle, it's this one play. You're not paying attention, or you're just dumb. I don't know. Like, because you can't tell me after 60 minutes of that game, the adjustments weren't made. He kept trying to go to the same things. You have playmakers, you don't use them, and then when you try to use them, Jimmy comes up short. So, like, make the adjustments. If you can't go with those plays, you have to do it another way. If you can't do it another way, then why is Jimmy starting in the first place? If you can't beat him, if you know, like, yo, Jimmy's limited, he can't do these plays, we can't make these things happen with Jimmy on the field, then why is he starting? Put Brock Purdy in and see what happens. You're not going to win with Jimmy anyways.
It seems like it. And I want to get to this comment. 49ers throwback, big time supporter. He says, there's no balance on offense and special teams. Eric Davis said the defense is too good to win. Yeah, we talked to Eric last week, and he said the same thing. When you have a good defense, eventually, if you can't score points, if you can't put up more than 20, like if you can't score points against a team, your defense is going to get tired. They're going to get basically gutted, and then teams are going to figure them out, and they're going to get injured. Like, you're overworking your defense. You can't expect your defense to go and win every game. You just can't. I mean, yes, they're a good defense. They have a great group of players, but today was not their day. And there's going to be days where the defense shits the bed. Today was one of them. Defense was not getting pressure. Whatever the case was, they lost more players today. Dre Greenlaw, you're right. There's no balance. There's no balance on offense. There's no balance on defense. No balance on special teams. Like, it was just an absolute loss on all three levels of the game. You know,
you think they rushed Bosa back? You think they should have?
You know, I think they did. I think they always
I
do.
think so, too.
I mean, I know Bosa said he felt good. I watched his press conference.
Dude, look at that guy.
He didn't
look at him.
Of
course he's going to say he felt good.
He felt good, but you could tell he wasn't as fast today. Charvarius Ward, I was disappointed. And I thought Ward was going to go out there and, you know, really be able to figure out Mahomes, but I think it was the other way around. Mahomes was able to know what Ward was going to do, and he took him out. So, Ward, I don't know if he was 100%, but that's the thing. The Niners need to win these games, so they have these players. They're going to throw them out there, and then it just leads them to not playing good, and they play through injury. It's a cycle with this team. So, I mean, we would have lost without them. So
that's what I'm saying. That's my point. Like, if I'm a head coach, I don't know, maybe I'm an idiot, but if I'm a head coach and I'm like, man, Raj is kind of banged up, he's not feeling too good, but he can play. I'd rather just sit him and wait the next week and see what you know what I'm saying? Like, where I get it, where Bosa might be able to play, but how good is he going to be? And then how much is the risk of injury? This was a must-win game. It's a weird thing in the NFL because, in my opinion, the must-win games are the games against the teams that aren't going to be in the playoffs. In my opinion, like, Atlanta's the must-win. The teams that are sub 500 season long, those are the ones you have to win. The ones that are like the Chiefs, like, man, this team might be in the Super Bowl. That's a coin flip. You hope you win.
You don't want to lose it, but at this point, because you dug yourself into a grave, you got to win it, and that's why I said, like, I know this team has been there, rock bottom, 3-5. I know how it is, but you can't expect them to crawl out of a grave every time.
Let me say this.
Hold up, real quick. I know next week we play the Rams. If we can beat the Rams and go into the bye week at 4-4, definitely great. But it's not guaranteed the way that the Niners are playing.
And then let me ask you this: the Seahawks beat the Chargers this week.
Yeah,
the Chargers are who we face coming out of the playoffs.
Yeah,
if we lose out of the bye, if we lose to the Chargers coming out of the bye, what does that say to you?
We're not as good as advertised, 100%. And that's a big. You're right. Like these next couple games are going to define our season. We got the Rams. Obviously, it's a team that we could beat, but it's not like they're going to want to play. You know, they're going to want to win this game. They get a lot of crap for losing to the Niners. You know, they're going to want to beat the Niners. We already talked a lot of crap this week on the Rams because we took Christian McCaffrey from them. They're going to be a little pissed. They're going home. You know, this is going to be a personal game. I think we can beat the Rams to go 4-4, and then we go to the bye. That would be perfect. But the Chargers, they're a good team, man. And Seattle beat them. That's impressive for them. Look at what Jimmy Robinson says. The Falcons got smashed by the Bengals. They got smashed.
Smashed.
And we couldn't beat them. Like, so it just shows you we're a very inconsistent team. Very inconsistent.
Tyler Boyd put up 156 yards. Who's a better wide receiver, Tyler Boyd or Brandon Ayuk? The answer is Tyler Boyd. Who's a better wide receiver, Tyler Boyd or Deebo Samuel?
It should be.
You know what I'm saying? It should be Deebo, right? Yeah. Tyler Boyd. I hope someone that knows Kyle sees it and tells him, but they won't. It's just I'm just saying it's just a crazy thing for me and you as fans to sit and be like, hey, but that doesn't. Hey, that shouldn't. And then it happens. And then the dudes that get paid gajillions are like, hey, this is great, man. Don't we look good? Jimmy's a stud. I'm like, bro, like, what are we talking about? What are we in my opinion, and it's just me, who do I know? In my opinion, there's what now? 10 games left of the season. I'm starting Brock Purdy for the rest of the season. I'm saving the money that you're going to pay Jimmy, and I'm starting Brock Purdy the rest of the season because I know what I know. I know what Jimmy's going to bring. He's going to bring not good enough.
I mean, that's
so
the thing.
Why not stop Brock?
Yeah, there's people in the comments. Oh, it's not Jimmy's fault. Jimmy, we know
you're an idiot.
Jimmy, I don't care what Jimmy does. I knew he was going to throw picks today, but can he make this offense score more than 21 points? It doesn't seem. I don't know. I think Brock Purdy sucks too. So whatever.
So yeah, but I'm saying if he's
what you're saying, and Smitty said this last week. If he's going to be your QB2 of the future, at least get him some development. I totally get that. You know, I don't know if Purdy's the answer. I don't know. Whatever. And I get it. Save money for giving Jimmy. Whatever needs to I don't care. Whatever needs to I don't care what it is. If it's what they need to do is put him in. Whatever they need to do to win games is what they need to do. You know, Mark said, I'm tired of the excuses. I don't know why Kyle and all them want to give you excuses, but I'm not giving you excuses. This team flat out sucked today. Bottom line, there's no excuse for me. There's no excuse for me. Pete Carroll, someone in the comments said Pete Carroll's out coaching Kyle at 70 because Pete Carroll's been a phenomenal coach his whole career. He was a great college coach. He was a great coordinator in the NFL with the Niners, by the way, and he's been a tremendous coach. Like, I know people hate Seattle because they're Seattle, but we need to give Pete Carroll his respect. This guy is a great coach, and he's doing it this year with Geno Smith. He got rid of Russell Wilson, who looks like he needed Pete Carroll more than Pete Carroll needed him. He's making Geno Smith look like Russell Wilson was, and he's making this team play great, play good defense. He drafted some nice gems, Tariq Woolen in the 5th round, and they're on top of the division. Pete Carroll is a great coach, better than Kyle Shanahan.
Way better.
Yeah.
And for someone that's saying, oh, but if you put Brock Purdy in, you're throwing away the season. Are you watching the season? I get it. Now, listen, here's the caveat. The caveat to all of this, and I hope you guys are listening. 165 of you in here, but only 26 of you have hit the like button. I don't appreciate that. But if you're listening, 169 of you, the only upside to all this is that the NFC is absolute dog water. The NFC as a whole is an embarrassment. Yeah. All of them. The only team that's good is the Eagles and kind of the Cowboys, but even there, you can see where they're short. We can make the Niners can make it into the playoffs and make a run only because the NFC is so bad. They can do it, but you can't do it when your coach is just you can't get out of your own way, buddy. You can't get out of your own way. I'm happy that he used Ty Davis Price this week, though. At least he, you know what I mean?
Get him a rep or two. Yeah, that was weird, actually. Um, Ted's B says, sad Niner fan, go tell the defense to stop Mahomes. They tried.
Can't.
Obviously, they can't because he's such a good player. Defense wasn't what they were. They couldn't get pressure. Arik Armstead was out. You're playing cornerbacks that are busted up. And then Jimmy Ward playing with one hand was silly. It is what it is. Defense definitely laid an egg today. But they did. They got an interception early, and they couldn't capitalize. And that was the backbreaker right there. When you get an interception on Patrick Mahomes, you better score after that. You better take advantage. They're putting field goals on the board, It's a both. Like, yes, the defense was bad, but the offense was just as bad. 23 points against the Kansas City Chiefs is not cut it, man. You can't do that. The defense was bad. Obviously, they're not as good as we thought they were right now, but the offense is not helping their cause. It's both sides of the ball. It was not just the defense. The offense scored 23 points. Patrick Mahomes is a phenomenal quarterback. He made us look silly. They could not stop Travis Kelce. Like, they didn't have a game plan for him, and it was easy money for them,
And they didn't adjust. And then you have McCole Hardman was Debo on you, scored 2 touchdowns out of the backfield and a receiving touchdown. Like, it's such a mess because you had 3 years to prepare for this. And Andy Reid knew exactly what he was going to do to us when he came in. He knew exactly what he was going to do. It's like, I'm going to start Pacheco because he's more physical. I'm going to scare them with that. And then once things get crazy, I know they can't stop Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to make Jimmy make throws that Jimmy can't make. He can't do it over 60 minutes. What's crazy is Kyle knows Jimmy can't make throws over 60 minutes. Jimmy knows Jimmy can't make throws over 60 minutes.
Yeah, we know that. And this is the question from Sauce Guy. He says, can we talk about how different their plays look from ours?
It's nuts.
It's crazy because Andy Reid consistently evolves as a coach. Like, there's times I watch him and I'm like, whoa, where is it? He changes his offense not only yearly, but like almost weekly. Like, he has new wrinkles all the time. He copies from others. He makes his own things. And Kyle always has the same plays. It's like he's running a play for like 1962, bro. Like, it's like he probably at home still has his old Apple computer from like the 80s. Like, that's Kyle, man. He's stuck in the old ways because that was such a class. That always was like so reliable back in those days. It's like he's stuck in the 80s with some of these things, man. It's you gotta change it up because what we say earlier, it's like in 2019 it was those jet sweeps, it was the motion plays, it was such this razzle dazzle offense. We don't see any of that anymore.
Yeah. And I think that's what the NFL saw. I think that's what the Niners saw when they signed Kyle Shanahan, is this innovative offense, all these new ways to use players. Excuse me. But then as LaFleur leaves or Leclerc leaves, and then as McDaniels leaves, as all of the assistant coaches leave, you realize like, oh, man, Kyle can't make the changes. He's not able to coach the team and the offense at the same time. That, like, this is real. Again, this is me from New England, right? For the last 23, 24 years, I've been watching Bill Belichick. The reason he's the best isn't because he won all those Super Bowls. The reason he's the best is because how he prepares his team. Every week, it doesn't matter if it's Bailey Zappi. It doesn't matter if it's Mac Jones. It doesn't matter who the quarterback. It doesn't matter. Do your job. That's the whole freaking legacy of the New England Patriots. Yeah. Do your job. It's very simple. Don't do anything more. Don't try to surprise anyone. Don't try to outsmart the competition. Just do your job.
Execute. And, I want to go back to discipline because it really bothered me today. So I'm going to bring this up because I'm bringing this up. Okay, so Eric says we should run jet sweeps with Danny Gray and his speed, right? Danny Gray Danny Gray just put himself in the doghouse even deeper today. Like he was
He's never
so,
gonna get the ball again.
bro. After today, he got a few opportunities and he dropped the ball so bad on his opportunity. Kyle Shanahan's gonna put him on the depths, the deep depths of the doghouse. Are you kidding me, Danny Gray? You just squandered your opportunities. He was so bad today, and not only that, Jawan Jennings. I love Jawan Jennings. He's a tough guy, but man, you need to keep your cool. Like, you cannot make those boneheaded plays. You're playing the Chiefs. You need to be disciplined, and that is to come out in the second half and make those boneheaded plays and give the Chiefs better field position. And boom, right off the bat, second half starts horribly for the 49ers. Horribly. And the Chiefs blocking was so much better than the Niners. All week I talked about how great the Niners blocking is. They couldn't block to save their life. McGlinchey, Williams, like this blocking was bad. Receivers weren't blocking. They just were ugly.
Yeah.
Defensive line, there was no push up front. Like, I don't know what it was, but man, discipline is lacking. Those penalties, so bad.
Dude, Bosa was and this is Nick Bosa. This is the best player on the whole freaking team. He was lining up off sides. Yeah, I saw that. Doghouse dude is homeless. Absolutely.
Yo, no, you're right, man. Nick Bosa, and he owned up to it in the conference. Yeah. I do like how he said, like Bosa said, look, I made mistakes, man. I fucking shit the bed. Like, I got respect for that, but you know,
Nick he was Bosa, trying.
He was trying. I get it, but yo, man, you're defensive player of the year candidate. You got to do better than
He's
that.
no longer. I love him. In my opinion,
they chipped him. This is true. 49.
Bro,
they did
because this a lot. And that's not. Listen, that's there's no one else on the line to take the pressure off.
With Armstead out, yeah.
With DeForest Buckner gone, there's no one on the line to take the pressure off of Bosa. When Arik comes back, he's not going to help. He said, hey, listen, Arik Armstead's a nice player. He's a nice player. He's a philanthropist. He's not a football player.
He's not a football player. Question from Viet says, one bad game, he's no longer. Yeah, he's no longer the front runner. He's still a candidate.
He's not the front runner.
He's not the front runner. Maybe I rephrased that wrong because, I mean, they're going to give it to some other guy because they lost this game after a horrible performance. You don't say,
bro. Listen,
up there, but
not Hawkinson's. What's his homeboy from Detroit?
Aiden Hutchinson.
Hutchinson's had 2 or 3 sacks in a losing effort. He had 2 or 3 sacks. Come on, Nick Bosa. It's his,
he played a year coming off injury, but still, if you're the defensive front runner, you should.
That's all I'm saying.
No, I get it, but I got no disrespect to Nick. He's still
no.
He's still a top guy, and he's still in the defensive player of the year category. But all I'm saying is tame down the hype a little bit because this was not his best performance. I mean, again, the defense didn't look good, but when he's doing everything out there, they're gonna double team him, chip him, whatever they got to do to take him out. But
they were literally running tight ends into him. Like the ball would snap, a tight end would smash his body into Nick Bosa and then run out and get it. Like, it's tough to be Nick Bosa in the NFL. I get it.
I feel bad for him, honestly. You could just tell, like, he leaves his emotions, honestly. He was so frustrated. He was so pissed, man. Yeah, tame down the hype on the whole team. Yeah, I agree.
That's done. I hope they can do something in those.
Aztec leader, he says, just pray we get a midnight tweet. Kyle fired.
I hope so. I don't think it'll happen. Jet is he's jaded. I'm hoping the front office isn't as bad at game evaluation as they are at talent evaluation. And I'm hoping that they see the mistake. Like, you can't give up 3 first-rounders for a quarterback and use him like Mike Allstott. You can't do that. It doesn't matter who your head coach is. You can't do that. And I'm hoping the front office sees that. And then I'm hoping they see, like, listen, I get it. It's the first week with Christian McCaffrey. Next week we'll tell a different story. After the bye week, we'll tell a different story. Absolutely. They'll implement him better.
Things are going to change. They can get better. We still got a lot of season left. Yeah. Like, I understand things are going to be better. The NFC's in shambles. Like, look at Tampa Bay. Look at Green Bay. Like there's hope, but the point of the matter of this conversation is to say that if the Niners continue to play like they did tonight, it's gonna be a
It's
long
not
season.
going anywhere. Yeah, it's 6 years. That's the other thing. It's 6 years. A lot of these players have been here for the majority of those 6 years. This 53-man roster isn't brand new. There's pieces, but the whole of it is the same. And so to have those guys lose in the Super Bowl in 2019 and then to come out like this in 2020 and Jimmy to play, like if you're that, and I can't blame Jimmy anymore
I
because
mean,
he's just not that good.
like that Jimmy's Jimmy. I don't.
Yeah.
Throwbacks is. I feel like our defense is giving up because our offense can't help. Yeah, it's basically
Yeah.
there's a lot of pressure on the defense. The offense can't score, and you hear like when you listen to George Kittle in his press conference, that's what he said. He's like the defense can't do everything. We got to score. We got to help them out. Like he knows that the offense is not helping them, and I'm sure the defense knows they're not helping the offense in games like this. Like Fred Warner was shook up today. He was like, "Look, man, we just sucked. We made bad mistakes." Like Fred Warner knows he's not playing great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he had a bad game today. Missed tackles, like not good, man. All around. Again, it's both sides of the ball. Goes down to coaching. I feel like that's the biggest issue. Can they regroup? Yeah, they can. They have the talent, obviously, but something's got to click, man. They just need to get something to click in them and to get a spark. But it should have went off a while back, and it's just tough because now you have a make or break game in week 8. You have a do week 8.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's like it's crazy and it's crazy to continue to put pressure like this on these guys. That's why I don't like. That's the caveat with a trade like Christian McCaffrey, because you do that and you're like, well, you better freaking win, and then when you don't, and you're like, I get like a lot of the problem is it's fans watching athletes, and for the athlete, you're like, dude, I just get paid to be here and do a job. Now you're like, as a franchise, now you're putting this pressure on me to do this thing that like we're not built to do this. We can't do this stuff. We're not surrounded. And then then the fans come down on them, and then you're like Jalen Hurd, and you delete your social media, and you become, you know what I mean? It's a messed up cycle. So, in my opinion, if I'm the front office at the end of the season, I'm like, yo, Kyle, this is probably going to be your last year. Next year.
It's just crazy to me because Jim Harbaugh got fired after 8-8 season.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying, in my opinion, I'd fire if it was me. If I'm the owner, I'm firing Kyle at the end of the year. I'm firing Kyle after the Trey Lance game. That's me. I'm crazy. But at the end of this season, if you're smart, if you're a logical person, you come to Kyle and you say, listen, 2023 is going to be your last year unless you win a Super Bowl, pretty much. Like you've had 7 years. You fucked up so many times. We got to make a choice. And if you come out this year again, next year, with Trey Lance healthy, with another offseason, with all this other stuff, and you mess up again, then we got to go. Because we gave up DJ Jones, who's a monster in Denver. Monster for Kinlaw?
That's tough, man. The DJ Jones move was, and that's the thing. I know you got to bank on your players, but God, man, looking back at it, I wish we would have been able to keep DJ Jones, man.
We could have.
Tough. You're right. It is tough to lose a guy like that. You know, it's tough.
And Laken Thomas, look what the Jets doing.
Yeah, Jets are good. Honestly, though, I'm happy with Aaron Banks. I do wish. I mean, if we would have kept Laken, I would have been happy. I get it.
Come on.
No, I'm not saying that Banks is amazing, and I would have loved to have Laken, but I think for what it's worth, Banks is okay. But DJ Jones, to me, and I said this in the offseason, I said if I'm going to keep it, because they couldn't keep everybody. If I was going to keep one guy, I was keeping DJ Jones, because Robert even says it. He saved this team a lot last year against the run. Like the run has been the issue for the Niners defense this year. Run defense. Teams are gashing us, running all up against us. DJ Jones was the guy that saved the day for us, and many times in Dallas, the playoff game against Dallas, that was the DJ Jones game. If DJ Jones didn't play that game, we lose that game. He dominated that game. Like there were so many games where DJ Jones dominated games, and that to me was the biggest loss.
Yeah.
Big loss.
But like Jimmy Robinson said, if Lakin was here, you could kick Burford to right tackle, kick Banks to right guard, and now
That's true.
you have the best line in the business, maybe,
That-
or top five.
That's
But
true.
Mike McGlinchey, listen, Mike McGlinchey, if he's a 49er next year, that tells you everything you need to know.
God,
If
dude.
he's
Yeah.
if he's on this roster next year, tells you everything you need to know.
I'm telling you, you know you're right because that's a good point. I didn't even look at it that way. So shout out to Jimmy Rob. That's a good point because I do say, and I've said this a lot. Like I don't think they put a lot of emphasis on offensive line, and it shows. Like they're okay with the younger guys, which is okay. Burford's played well. Banks has played
Great,
well. You're banking
great.
on Sims, who's getting paid a lot as you should, but he's getting up there in age and he's getting hurt a lot. So you need to make sure you have depth. Jalen Moore is not good. Colton
No,
McKivit's not good. He's hurt. Mike McGlinchey, he's not good. Dan Brunskill, I know he's the Swiss Army knife, but he's not like a pure starter.
he's not a starter.
You just move him around the line, and he knows the scheme. Jake Brendel, he's awful. Their O line is bad. Is bad.
Yeah.
And I agree.
Yeah.
Mike McGlinchey, if he's on this team next year,
Tells you everything you need to know. Tells you everything you need to know. If he's on this team next year, if the people that evaluate talent for the San Francisco 49ers come into 2023 and they say Mike McGlinchey is a staple, it tells you everything you need to know. Don't buy any Niners gear next year. Don't buy any Niners gear next year.
Right.
Don't go into any games because they don't care.
You're right. Hey, real quick, I need to take a pause. I just need to text somebody real quick, but we'll be right back. 30-second break. Okay, sorry about that. I just had to maybe take a break, text someone. But yeah, no, I agree. Mike McGlinchey, man, just that was a bad mistake. He's a top 10 pick. Top 10.
You gave up Trent Brown. John Lynch said Trent Brown is bad because he's a diva. But Mike McGlinchey, that guy's a starter in the NFL.
Top 10 pick in the NFL draft, not a single Pro Bowl. Not even a Pro Bowl season.
He's awful.
Laura says they're extending him instead of releasing. If they extend McGlinchey, I will be so mad. My reaction video when I come on here and I react to that, it'll be like it'll be the craziest reaction you'll ever see. Oh my god.
It's insane. It's gonna be a problem, and I get it. Like, we'll see what they replace him with. They don't have any draft picks.
No.
There's no draft picks. So
with that.
There's a couple third rounders.
But you know the Niners, they got a lot of mid rounds and third and late rounders. They'll be fine because they can develop talent with those guys.
Hope so.
But the problem is they just missed on that. That was just a bad miss. But that's the problem is their early round picks for the most part they miss on. They miss on.
Yeah. And like people always come back to Nick Bosa. It's like Nick Bosa was a first round pick the day he was born. That doesn't count.
Yeah. Nobody's gonna miss on Nick Bosa. I mean, Nick Bosa that's something that just landed in their hands. Like, okay, we suck. Now we're gonna get to draft Nick Bosa. That was amazing, right?
Every other first round pick, it's not good. And you can say Trey Lance. We'll see. We'll see in a couple of years, maybe. Yeah. Do we pursue Thomas Edward Patrick Brady the third?
He's a mess too. Tom Brady's in shambles. He's dealing with his own issues. I mean, we had the chance. I don't think we need to get him. He's done. He's Tom Brady. He's amazing, but he's going through his own issues. I don't think so, and I don't think we have much to get for him. Anyways, there's a couple questions. So, wasted a pick with TDP now since we got. Yeah, these third round drafts. But you need depth. No, I think TDP will replace Wilson next year, Jeff Wilson. So, yeah, it's a future pick. A lot of the picks they make are for the future.
Yeah, and the way Kyle goes through running backs, you need a lot of them.
No, I don't think Brady's washed. He's just going through a lot of mental. Like he's going through a lot of stuff. I mean,
Anyone that thinks Brady is washed, bro, that guy threw more passes than anyone in the NFL last year. More touchdowns, more completions, and more yards at 44.
he's still great. He's
It,
still Brady, but
it's just
he's
his
going through a lot.
wife and everything else.
Through a lot. You don't want to have a quarterback going through. He's going through a lot of personal stuff. I mean, he's the legend, man. He's probably he's dope. You know. So. Eric O says Ayuk's not going to want to stay here with Kyle. What do you think? You think Ayuk's out of here? You think he wants out? Is Kyle still around?
Here's the thing. I don't know if the front office isn't stupid enough to, maybe they are, but I don't think you trade a guy like Ayuk, because in my opinion, Ayuk is a top end wide receiver in this league. If Brandon Ayuk was on the Green Bay Packers, I don't know if they'd have lost the game. That's a fact. Like, if Brandon Ayuk is on a team with a legit quarterback, I don't think we're saying anything bad about him. He's probably a Pro Bowler.
He's a great player. He's wide open.
He runs clean routes.
He does, yeah. Whenever the ball gets in he does great stuff. I think when Trey gets back, him and Trey are gonna be boys. I think he's frustrated because he's waited 2 years to play with his boy, and now he doesn't have that. And you could tell the frustration, because you're right. He does get open all the time. He runs amazing routes. He's a first.
He's a legit one.
And he's a legit one, and he hasn't, had a Pro Bowl season yet. They're kind of holding him back. If he was on another, guarantee, if he was on Kansas City, he'd be a god.
Oh my God! If he was on Kansas City, get out of here, bro. It's 1,500 yards a season for that boy. If he was on Kansas City, you're talking about like you're talking about ridiculous stuff. If he had a real quarterback and a real head coach, you're talking about crazy numbers. Ayuk is a legit talent. He's a 4.2, 4.3 speed. He had an injury. That's why he ran a 4.4 in college for the combine. He's legit 4.2, 4.3 speed. He's a legit player. When you have Jimmy Garoppolo and Kyle, it's not.
He separates better than anybody on this Niner team. Like, there's no receiver. And I remember I argued here with Smitty, and I said Brandon Ayuk, on his ability as a receiver, is the best pure receiver on the 49ers. Route running, the way he separates from receivers is 10 times better than Debo. And I'm not saying Debo is bad. I'm just saying
he's not that good.
In terms of route running and creating separation, Debo is not. He's second to Ayuk in that category. And as a pure wide receiver, that's what you're based off. That's what your skill set's based off is, can you run routes? Can you run the route tree? Like, Debo's a phenomenal player. He's a weapon. He can do it all. But if I was to go just run him up one-on-one with the cornerback, Ayuk probably is going to be
every time.
Every time.
And the reason we don't see it as fans is because Jimmy Garoppolo is such a bad quarterback that he has to get rid of that football so quickly. The open guy is the guy that's going to be closest to him. That's Deebo Samuel. That's why you have a season like he had where he had 1,400 yards on 70 catches. It's never been done in the NFL. It doesn't work that way in football. But when you have a system like that, a coach like that, a quarterback like that, this is what happens. In reality, and I get what you're saying too. When Trey comes back next year, maybe with Ayuk, I don't see that happening. But I think what happens with Ayuk is he's here for the next whatever duration. They give him the fifth year option, and then after the fifth year, he doesn't do anything again because the system he's in. Because if Kyle's here, Kyle's here, 5 years with Ayuk, he doesn't put up 1,000 yards in any of those seasons.
Oh, he's gone.
He's gone in year six. He ends up in a real team with a real quarterback, and he just balls out.
Yeah, I mean, I could sense the frustration if he doesn't get the hype, because he wants to get paid too. And in order to get paid, you got to produce some numbers and stuff. So, it's tough.
He'll sign like a small,
I know he was a Niner fan growing up too, so I'm sure he wants to have success. But man, it's just tough. It's got to be frustrating for him. But because he's open all the time, I love the guy.
Yeah, he's a beast. He's a beast.
David says, serious question. Would you guys rather have Goff or Jimmy?
Goff. Not even a question.
I don't even care. Both of them.
It's not even close. It's not even close. It's not even really close because Jimmy Garoppolo's been in the same exact system for the last 5 years minimum, and he looks worse every single week. Jared Goff plays for the freaking Lions. The
Lions.
Lions. The
Yeah.
Lions. And he looks good. And he doesn't even have his wide. You can't even tell
Yeah,
me
he didn't have them all.
Jared Goff's wide receivers because he lost Sun God. Sun God got injured. So he's got a bunch of regular guys. He doesn't have Debo Samuels. He doesn't have Brandon Ayuk.
God throw. That's when I remember him coming out of college.
He doesn't have. Yeah.
I did like college. I don't like either of them. But I mean, if I had to pick one, I guess I'd take Goff over Jimmy.
It's not even close.
Yeah. I don't
It's
care.
not even. It's not. They're both bad. They're both like, but like Jimmy's like the worst. Like if you look at Jimmy's stats for balls, I think for passes over 15 yards, he's ranked 31 or 30 in the NFL.
Yeah.
31. He's as bad as it gets for starting quarterbacks in the NFL.
When Goff had multiple Pro Bowl seasons with the Rams, he's had good seasons. Like he's had success. I just don't think he's like the answer. But yeah, if I had to pick between them, 100% I'd pick Goff. But man, I'm just deflated today because there was so much hype and excitement coming today. CMC, you ruined CMC's debut.
Yeah,
we ruined his debut. Like that was so much hype going into this game, and he fell flat. It's frustrating, man. It's frustrating.
It's frustrating as a fan, like us, because we've been watching for so long, and it's like, listen, for the team, for the players, at the end of the day, those guys are ballers. Those guys are rich as shit. They drive Lamborghinis. They're chilling.
It'll start today, bro. Woo,
oh my god, bro!
You saw like two other cars. There was like a Rari. I don't remember. I was like, oh, okay. So
my god,
coming home with some cash.
And here's the thing, they deserve it. Those guys have sacrificed. They've fucking done it. I don't ever like hate on a player for that, but it's like Jimmy's not a starter. Stop starting him. Stop starting Jimmy Garoppolo.
Going off that, hold on, I got two good questions. So, sad Niner fan, he says, I didn't think the Niners would win, but I didn't expect to be that bad. That's, I think, the theme.
Yeah.
The hard game, but man, the way it looked like today was ugly. 44. And then says, do you think teams will get Jimmy as a quarterback during this offseason? If he continues to look like this, he may not ever get a job. So he's
gonna end. I'm telling you, if he stays in the NFL, unless Kyle resigns him, unless Kyle Shanahan resigns him, he's gonna go back to New England. He's gonna be a backup in New England for Bill Belichick, or he goes to Vegas. If Derek Carr can't make the playoffs and he looks like absolute failure with Josh McDaniels, he either goes to Vegas, New England, or Kyle Shanahan resigns him. If Kyle Shanahan resigns him, we're all going to hell.
Definitely think if he goes somewhere, he'll be a backup. But I mean, I can't see teams rushing to get him. I think the biggest thing, I don't think teams are going to be rushing to get him. I mean, he'll be lucky to get a backup job somewhere if he continues. I mean, we know he's a quarterback. He's not a starter, man. I mean, he's Jimmy Garoppolo, and I'm not even going to sit here and blame him for a loss because I already know. Like, you knew what to expect from him. You know he's going to throw some weird picks. You knew he's going to come out and be, happy feet. And I don't know, I'm not even mad when Jimmy throws picks anymore. I'm just like, it is what it is.
Jimmy. That's him. Like, you can't be upset. You've been watching this dude for years. He has, like, it is what it is.
Yeah. I'm man. I just hope that they get their shit together sooner rather than later. I just don't want them to dig themselves in a deeper hole. We're already 3-4. If they dig themselves into a 3-5 hole, man,
the Rams are coming off a bye.
They're gonna be fresh.
And I'm telling you, they're coming off a bye, and they got that new running back. He's going to be coming off IR. I forgot his name. Williams. I forgot his name. But it's a new running back. No one has any tape on him. The Niners are going to be flat because they're just coming off of 2 losses in a row. If they lose next week, which I think they're gonna, and then they go to the bye, I think they're gonna lose. I know it's crazy. It's the Rams. We dog walk the Rams. Might be right. We might win. Like, I'll give it like a 60-40 for the Niners just because they dog walk the Rams all the time.
It's
going to be a hard game.
Chris said, he said revenge from Debo last year. Yeah.
And if they lose against the Rams and then they lose against the Chargers coming off the bye, forget it.
I mean, I have faith.
I don't have
positive. But it's hard. It's hard to, Vlad, because you're right. Look at what they did today. They let us down. It was the biggest letdown of the season. All the hype, everything. Like, oh my God, you couldn't write a better script. It was return of Bosa, return of Trent Williams. It was CNC. It was National Tight End Day. It was Bosa's birthday. It was all these fucking stories that we were like, oh my God, and they shit the bed, man.
They just weren't prepared. The coach didn't prepare the team. This is it. This is your Super Bowl, dog. This is it. That's how, if I'm a head coach of a team, that's how you come in. This is the Super Bowl. If you do not win this game, do not show up to the facilities this week. Period. Don't show up. Don't show up to practice. Don't show up. It's over. If you do not win this game, it's over. This is your Super Bowl. Period. It doesn't matter what you do against the Seahawks. It doesn't matter what you do against the Rams or the Cardinals. That's the NFC. If you want to win the Super Bowl, here's your Super Bowl. You're can't beat the Chiefs. Don't show up to practice this week, dog. It's over. It's over.
No, I know what you're saying, because you're right. And look at the talent. It's a Super Bowl roster, is what we keep saying, right? If it's a Super Bowl roster, play like it.
It's over. It's over. It's over. Listen, I've been a Niners fan since I was a kid. I got my Steve Young jersey. I got my Niners pullover starter jacket since I was from the 4th grade. I get it. It's over, dog. Maybe next year. It's over.
It's tough, because this is a good comment. Sean says, how can you consistently not have your team prepared? That's a recipe for poorly coached. And that's it. That's what we've been saying. It's like they're just not prepared. No execution on a weekly basis, man.
Bro, they should, bro. We were talking about earlier. They should hire me for head coach. They tick all the boxes. I wasn't born in this country. I'm a refugee. I tick all the boxes. I'll get you all the picks that Robert Salah got. Me and him are neighbors. Me and Robert Salah are neighbors, bro.
Yo, man, if I ever see Vlad as head coach, I'd be so fucking hyped up.
This team would run through a wall, or they'd be off the team. They'd either be running through walls, or they wouldn't be on the squad. Period.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, if someone makes, they're gone. You're not wait till after the game. You're cutting a mid play. Like, get the fuck out of my team.
Get out. Get off. Arik Armstead would have been gone years ago.
It'd be breaking news. Mike McGlinchey had just been cut in the middle of the game. Boom. Yeah.
I wouldn't have let him on the final 53-man roster. Zero chance. Zero chance. I don't give a shit. That guy wouldn't have made it to the final 53-man roster this year. No chance.
You're right.
I wouldn't care. I'd be like, bro, we don't have a right tackle this year. We don't have one. I'd rather run it without a right tackle than Mike McGlinchey. Personally, I swear to God, I'd rather run a 53-man roster with just some guy that's trying to get into the NFL than Mike McGlinchey.
You just put George Kittle at right tackle at this point, because he literally is your right tackle. If you really look at the game, George Kittle's kind of your right. Just call it George Kittle your right tackle. Mike McGlinchey. It's crazy, man. Look at Tyler says we could have had Wirfs instead of Kinlaw 100%. Man, Wirfs would have been amazing. Joseph says, look at what Brian Daboll is doing with the Giants. Exactly. 6-1. You called it last year. You did say Brian Daboll, fucking hell of a coach. They are 6-1 with the New York Football Giants. Danny Dimes, who everybody sat here and said he's a gutter trash quarterback. Right now, if the Pro Bowl was to start, he'd be one of your 3 NFC Pro Bowl quarterbacks.
As he should be. As he freaking should be, because that dude is listening and trying to develop. He shows up to meetings. He's not trying to have sex with porn stars that charge $4,000 an hour. He's not trying to be a celebrity. He's not trying to be funny or famous. Danny Dimes is trying to win football games. Brian Daboll is trying to win football games, and his team shows it. The New York Football Giants, think if you put it on paper, if you line up their 53-man roster with the Niners, you think the freaking Giants have a more talented roster than the San Francisco 49ers? Let me know what you're doing for drugs. Let me know what drugs you're on, because that's a lie. You're either drunk or you're on drugs, because the Niners are stacked.
Yeah.
Stacked. But when you have coaches that don't know what they're doing, that's what you get.
I agree.
That's
Look at
what
this.
you get. Kyle Shanahan, bro.
I agree with Nia. She says Brian Daboll, Coach of the Year.
100%.
100%.
100%.
I agree.
It's honestly, in my opinion, it's between Brian Daboll and Bill Belichick. Because Bill Belichick, you talking about Bailey Zappi, dog. You're putting up 30 points with.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, nobody expected the Giants to be 6-1.
Absolutely.
But no,
absolutely.
you give Belichick credit to be competing and winning games with Zappy.
Bro, that team is a mess. My three coaches this year are Brian Daboll, Belichick, and Robert Salah. Robert Salah, bro. I'll stand up, bro, right now for Robert Salah, bro. That dude's a real one.
Yo,
You go through Joe Flacco, bro.
He just drafted so good this offseason. I mean, what he did this offseason, look at the stars. He brought in Sauce Gardner. Else he brought in Garrett Wilson, Brees Hall. Like, he made this team legit. And what did he say at the beginning of the season? He goes, listen, man, everybody's going to write us up. I'm keeping receipts. And ever since he said that, they've been stacking wins. And this team they're playing amazing. I mean, he's got Quinnen Williams looking like an all-pro defensive tackle. This team is unreal, man. He started slow, took him a little while. I mean, he took over the New York Jets. But they look like a bona fide, really good team, man. Shout out to Salah. It makes me happy to see him really good. And Mike LaFleur, is it right?
Yeah, Mike LaFleur or Mike LeClaire?
No, it's LaFleur. He took him from the Niners, right? Remember, he was on the Niners squad, run game coordinator, whatever. He took him, made him his OC, and that's what you do. He knows he's a defensive coach. Go get me a great offensive coordinator, and that is smart, baby. And they're doing it, man.
And again, that's a division, bro. The Bills, the Dolphins, the Patriots, and the Jets. Like, in the beginning of the season, everyone would have said, well, yeah, the Bills will be okay. They're going to be a contender, but the rest of those teams, they're not going to be in playoff contention. All those teams are in playoff contention. And like half of the division is former Niners coaches. And then you have Kyle, who's been here for 6 years going on now. Like, it tells as just a fan, it tells me everything I need to know. I'm hoping the front office can see it too. You got to make the move. Sean Payton had Drew Brees put up 5,000-yard season after 5,000-yard season after 5,000-yard season. He would have been to 2 more Super Bowls if the refs didn't steal it from him. You give Sean Payton this roster, you think he's going to put up 14 points against the Falcons? Come on, dog.
That's frustrating. This was a tough loss. Very tough loss, man. I don't know. I mean, I thought I wasn't going to be as upset after this loss because I was like, but the way they lost today,
44 points?
44 points, and they just looked like they didn't even have any fight in them. It just looked like they rolled over and gave up, man. That's what it seems like.
I think the team, remember last week when Debo got into it with Shanahan?
Mm-hmm.
Remember? And then the same thing happened for the Cardinals. Kyler got into it with
when you read that.
Kingsbury made the adjustment. He listened to Kyler and was like, yo, he's right. I got to chill.
That they started cooking, right? Kyle doesn't adjust, man.
Kyle doesn't make the adjustment.
Debo just looked pissed off today. He just looked like he was like done. He was like,
because he probably knew the game plan. He was like, are you guys this freaking stupid? You're not going to give it to the dude you just paid $23 million a year to? You just gave me $23 million for the next 3 seasons. You're not going to.
Like in the Super Bowl, Kansas City Super Bowl, Debo was absolutely cooking. And if they would have won that Super Bowl, Debo's your MVP, guaranteed. And they went away from him. NFC Championship last year. Debo was the guy. He was the guy that he basically brought you there. Him and DJ Jones, let's be honest, and Nick Bosa maybe. And they went away from Debo Samuel in that fourth quarter in that NFC Championship game. And you didn't give him the ball. Like, I didn't hear Debo's name called today.
Yeah. The run game, and then you don't throw to him. You don't open him. You don't put him in space. You don't your best way to win is to give the ball to Debo Samuels in space. And then when Debo Samuels gets the ball in space, the defense has to adjust and pull over to Debo Samuels. And then Brandon Ayuk is open one-on-one, and you just feed it to Brandon Ayuk
Only
until
that,
they make.
and now you have CMC, so you can, okay, if everybody's keying in on Debo.
Oh my God, I'm not even.
Dude, I know it was his first game, and I know he's going to get better into the offense. I know he's only been there for 2 days. But let's talk about CMC because he played great today in whatever limited amount he was playing. This man is a all-pro player. I don't think he needed to practice that much to be utilized a little bit more. There was times where you could have gave him the ball on a 3-and-3, on a toss or something like that, and it would have been electric. But instead, he did waste a few plays with them. It was like run up the middle, like a nothing burger.
Just like he did this trade.
Just like give him some weird rep. Use them as a weapon. When they threw him the ball, big play. When they swept the ball with them, big play. When they used like a toss play, big, like those were the money plays, and they just went away from that stuff. It's like, dude, you just brought one of the most scintillating players in the league, and you're not even using them the right way.
You're just gonna run him up the middle, just like you did the quarterback. He looked
impressive when he was making those plays, and I was like, in the red zone area, you could have probably gave him the ball and you probably scored. But no, you let Jimmy throw the ball to the defense.
And someone said, if Kyle gets fired, do you think John Lynch goes with him? In my opinion, I say no. And if it's me, I'm saying, yo, Kyle, you're out. I'm going to go talk to Sean Payton and see what Sean Payton says. If Sean Payton says I want my own GM, then John Lynch, see you later. If Sean Payton says, no, we can work with it, then we can work with it. But like the reality is you've seen it for 6 years now. The adjustments aren't being made. The NFL isn't a let's see what happens tomorrow game. It's not it's what Smitty says. Smitty's right. You got to give him his flowers. If you're planning for plan B, you're gonna fail. And the Niners are planning for plan B. Oh, we'll get CMC because next year him and Trey are going to be good. You failed. There he is.
Speaking of Smitty, there he is. Yo, my man Smitty, how you doing, man?
I'm good, guys. I honestly, I don't want to come in here and
just
look. It's a somber.
Rip it.
It's a somber day for me too. Because I've got I lost.
You're so right.
I lost my boy Brees Hall today. So it was a depressing day today.
How long do they have a day for how long it'll be out? Is it like a long term, you think, or is it
ACL, torn ACL?
Oh Jesus, I have not seen that.
Yeah.
Oh no. Smitty, I sat Tyler Boyd today.
You sat Tyler Boyd today?
That's because I was good. I was like Tyler Boyd or Terry McLaurin.
Yeah. But yeah, Brees Hall going down was brutal. But my boy Kenneth Walker, can we get Vlad? Can we get a standing ovation for Kenneth Walker?
You know what? For now, I'll give him. I'll tip my hat to old Kenny Woda.
I'm taking over Raj's show. Kenneth Walker to the moon. Mashed potatoes.
Dude, what's crazy is this.
Raj, I'm taking over your show. Kenneth Walker season. To the moon.
You know what? There will be no Kenneth Walker Seattle Seahawks talk here. Obviously, he's good, though.
No, dude. Good for him.
Good for him, man.
Look, I don't have a lot of time because I've been live for forever. So I came on here to get a sense of whether you guys are ready to let Kyle go or not. It sounds like when I came in, I just heard Vlad a little bit. It sounds like you guys are ready because this is something that's been a long time coming.
I mean, we've been ready, Smitty.
I think at this point, if the front office doesn't see what everyone else like, it's 6 years. You can't continue to think that Kyle isn't the answer, is the answer. It's over. He had his chance. It's a 53-man roster that he built, handpicked. if he doesn't win it this year, if he makes it to the playoffs and loses, they're gonna say, well, he didn't have Trey, and they'll give him another year, I think. But in my opinion, like, you make the move now. If it's not D'Amico, it's Sean Payton. I would go with Sean Payton. I get why people are high on D'Amico. I go with Sean Payton.
I mean, I think D'Amico, maybe he stays another year as DC. I mean, I still think
if he's smart, he would.
I think he's still going to be a good coach somewhere. I mean, I know today was a bad game. It was ugly. But Robert Salah had some clunkers, and he became a good coach, you know. So don't let one game reflect his bad play. And at defense, there's a lot of injured players. No excuses, but still, I still think D'Amico's a great coach. But with David, so let me see this comment. No way am I firing Kyle. Give him a chance with Trey next year. I'm also telling him that why give him a chance when you know it's the same. It's 6 years. If he hasn't figured it out now, he's never going to figure it out. We need to get a guy that's going to nurture and develop Trey.
We keep hearing that. We keep hearing like give him a chance, give him a chance, and give him a chance. I'm tired of hearing give him a chance. Like, he's a good offensive mind when he's not doing everything and ruining his ability to even do that. Like, it's not like he's even a good offensive mind. He's calling great plays. He's doing that, but he's bad at personnel. He's now bad at it all because he's focused on trying to do it all. So like it's kind of like he's diluting his ability to do the one thing he's really good at because he's trying to do, his ego is getting in the way. He's trying to do everything wrong. You know, it's like CMC. Why would you use CMC so effectively in the very beginning of the game, and then you never use him again? I wasn't here to hear you guys talk about it, but it's like, this is what I talked about. The usage of CMC is going to be the problem.
Yeah, and same thing with Trey Lance.
Because you in our group, you texted me. You said, "Hey, man, why aren't they using CMC?" And at that point, I think the game was already had gone.
Yeah.
But you made a great point because, and we just actually got to that right before he came in. It was like, okay, CMC was being effective. I know you're limiting him. You're giving him the 20 rep count or whatever. But they wasted him on a few up the gut plays. Like, it was stupid. 3-3. You could have tossed the ball to him. You could have threw the little screen pass to him, because when they did those plays, holy crap, everybody lost their minds. Like, look how good he is. And then if you keep doing that and it's effective, then you can go use Debo with the way you need to use. They didn't even use Debo Samuel, man.
Dude, what did I say about that? The problem with adding McCaffrey is if you take away Debo Samuel, like Debo Samuel, the great thing about Debo, and this, everyone says, Smitty, your fantasy is your fantasy, keep your fantasy out of it. This allows me to look at it from all different angles, not only from an NFL perspective, but from a statistical output perspective. I'm not looking at things from just fantasy. I'm looking at them from both. I think that's what people don't understand about someone like me, is they think I only see one side. I see the side you guys see, but I also look at it from a side you guys don't necessarily need to see it from. I'm not saying it's better to know that what I know, but when you look at it from the outside and the inside, you see things a little bit sometimes that other people don't, because it's like Debo Samuel. If you put Christian McCaffrey on this team and you have Jimmy G as the only way to get Debo the ball, and you take away the one part that Debo can do very well, which is run when he can't catch. When Debo can't get volume through the air, he makes up for it on the ground. If you take away a lot of his potential to get that volume on the ground, now Debo's going to be inconsistent. He's going to do something through the air, or he's not going to do anything at all if you're using these pieces wrong. And McCaffrey, how many carries did McCaffrey get?
I gotta look at the squad.
Let me see. I don't know exactly.
Let me pull it.
Look it up. I want to add that up. So it says, okay, but you guys literally bash Jimmy, say he's the worst, right? How can he win with this guy? The guy literally throws alley-oops to other team. But that's the whole thing.
5 years.
You've had this same quarterback for 6 years, right? Since 2017. You have all the weapons around him. You have Debo. You've surrounded him with amazing talent. Like, if the guy can't win with those guys, it's not just Jimmy. It goes beyond Jimmy. We know his limitations. We get his limitations. But you just added another superstar to this offense. You have Ayuk, Kittle, Debo, CMC. How can you only score 23 points? Like, you cannot. If you're a genius, like there was a comment that just said 3-3.
8 carries.
Why not run the ball when you have CMC, Debo, and Jeff Wilson, who was running effectively? But no, you throw the ball and then you throw a pick. Like, that is why, not just Jimmy. That's why we're telling you Kyle is an issue too. It's both of it's a package duo. That's the way.
I mean, in my opinion, I think Kyle is afraid of Jimmy's limitations because he sees him enough in practice, and then that makes his play calling worse. And if you can say, well, then it's Jimmy making Kyle worse, no, because it's ruined Kyle so much that then when they get Trey Lance, who's the guy that's supposed to be the savior, the guy that's got the arm talent, he checks everything, checks all the boxes. And you get Trey Lance and you just run him into a wall. And that tells me your coach is messed up.
So also, like the part that I said before the game was that you've got to give him, he is the inverse of Deebo Samuel, or you could say the complete, like, exact copy of him, but just lines up at running back. And you give McCaffrey 2 catches, he gets 24 yards, like very effective. You need to give him half PPR work, half non-PPR work. Like he needs to, or sorry, I'm talking fantasy. You need to give him half reception, half rushing type of work. Like you got to have a 50-50 divide with him. If Kyle was to have played him the whole game, he would have probably got 3 or 4 receptions and 16 to 18 carries. And I'm telling you, CMC is going to break in this aggressive scheme the way that Shanahan breaks every running back. If you're giving him 16 to 20 carries a game and you're not utilizing him as like that Deebo Samuel, 7 receptions for 80 yards is what you want out of McCaffrey every other game. You want McCaffrey to have 40 or 50 yards rushing one game and 70 or 80 yards receiving, not what would probably, if you could stretch out, extrapolate his carries and work through the whole game, he would have 16 to 18 carries on the ground. And Shanahan will break them. That's not how you use CMC.
And just so you know, Jeff Wilson, 7 carries, 54 yards, 7.7 yards per touch. 7.7 yards per touch for Jeff Wilson. That tells me that the defense wasn't worried about Jeff Wilson when he was on the field, yet the head coach doesn't use him enough. When you get Christian McCaffrey, the other team is probably not going to focus on Jeff Wilson. So maybe put them both on the field, but then shift Christian McCaffrey out wide and run Jeff, you know what I mean? Run Jeff Wilson.
Defense didn't care about Jeff, so he's going to get utilized more, or he's going to get open,
more yards.
That's the whole thing. You bring in CMC to help everybody else. Yeah. They could have kept running the ball with Jeff Wilson, but it's like,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
but Kyle's bad.
But Kyle just wanted to kind of, I don't know what he wanted to do, man.
He's bad, bro.
He did get Kittle involved. I'll give him that, but at the same time, it was like desperation. It was like out of desperation.
Yeah, he's bad. What I'll give him is he gave 11 targets to Ayuk, which is good. Ayuk should be getting 11 targets every single game for the rest of the season. That's your best number one. That's your most talented, pure receiver. So get him as many looks as possible. When you have Deebo Samuels and Christian McCaffrey, bro, line them both up in the backfield. One runs a short route that you can dunk it off. The other one runs a Texas route. Who knows which one's going to run which route? The defense is going to be so confused.
All week, lad. That's what I said all week, and they did. I don't know, man.
Stop throwing the ball. Stop throwing the ball down the field too. Jimmy can't do that. Like
you can't do it.
Bubble screens, dink and dunk stuff. Like it's crazy. Like I said, you guys do bubble screens, jet sweeps like better than anybody. But do you do them with the running back? You normally do them with Deebo and like wide receiver type.
They don't.
So what I'm saying, this is my concern. You acquired a running back that is equal parts wide receiver, equal parts running back. My fear, Shanahan doesn't understand that. I think he's going to use him as a running back. And while he's going to catch a couple passes or whatever, if Shanahan doesn't make him more of a receiving threat than a running threat, he will get hurt. This guy's played 2 games in 2020 and 7 games in 2021. And he hasn't had a 1,000-yard season in 3 years. And he's only rushed for 1,000 yards twice in his career. He ran for 1098 and 13-something. So he barely ran for 1,000 yards the second time. And this is a 800, 900 yard receiving running back. And he's literally going to replace Jeff Wilson eventually with CMC, and you're going to break them.
Yep.
Got to throw one. You got to throw
just
one.
like he did Trey. Just like he did Trey.
I hope he doesn't, but you never know with this man. Yeah. Then somebody in the comments says, let me see that comment. It says, why are we not using the same type of plays the Chiefs use? We have the same talent. Like, and that's what we talked about earlier. It's like this team has the talent to go and be this dynamic offense, but Kyle is stuck in the Stone Age with his play calling. And you got Andy Reid, and we said this earlier. We did touch on this. He evolves. He coaches. Like the way he coaches is okay. I need to stay up to the latest, terminology,
Trends.
plays, the trends. That's what he does. He knows the trending plays and what works. And when you, no matter what job you have, because I'll use this example. One of my best friends, his dad was a dentist, and he stopped. He actually quit after many years of practicing because he was stuck in the old ways of being a dentist. He didn't learn the new, all the technology, all the new machines, and all the stuff that most of these modern dentists use. And he was losing business. People weren't going to him because, he wasn't as quick as everybody. He was a great dentist, but he was outdated. And you have all these other guys coming in doing this great fancy work for probably less money, because when he was doing all that old outdated stuff, it cost more money. So he was losing money. So he had to quit being a dentist because he didn't want to learn all the new stuff. So that's the same thing with Kyle. It's like he doesn't want to learn the new trending plays because in his mind, he's creating the trends he thinks, but people have caught up to him. That's it. Bottom line.
Yeah, and does he not want CMC to come in and like his ego's so big? And I don't know that he's doing this on purpose, but subconsciously, right? CMC comes in and you start running him and using him as the focal point. Oh my God, it is Shanahan. CMC fixed this. Like, does he almost want to be like, I'm going to use you, CMC, but you're a part of my offense. Watch. And I'm just going to throw the ball. Like, I'm going to have Jimmy throw the ball down the field.
He was just a Scott, like a Band-Aid. I think he wanted to, okay, we got CMC. It's going to fix everything. It's not going to fix everything. And also, I'm not going to just sit here because we have talked about the offense a lot. And Kyle, the defense was shitty too. Like, I'm not going to be, I got to throw that out there because people are going to rewatch this and say all these guys think about is they just think the offense was, the defense was bad. No, I get it. They were bad today. Throw that out there too.
And they didn't make the adjustments as the game went. The whole thing was bad today. For as important of his day as it was, and you bring everyone back from 2020, 2012, 2013, whatever it was, and you perform as bad as you do, and you talk about the revenge tour, and for all the players that like George and all those guys, forget about that stuff. Forget about it. Kyle didn't have his team prepared. After 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is of waiting for this rematch, he didn't have the team prepared. Kyle thinks he's the smartest guy in the room.
And when he really does, do you think he really does though at this point, or is he doubting it himself?
I guarantee you, he thinks he's right. I guarantee you, when he thinks to himself, he's like, well, it's because Jimmy couldn't make that pass, or it's because this didn't happen, or this guy didn't do what I told him to do there, or he didn't see what was open there. Guys like Kyle, he thinks he's smarter than everyone. When you think you're smarter than everyone, doesn't matter what job you have. If you think you're the smartest dentist, you're going to fail. If you think you're the smartest podcaster, you're going to fail. There's too many people on this planet for anyone to be the smartest. Like, look what your peers are doing. Yeah. The game changes every season. The game changes. Look how close these teams are. But you're still doing the same thing because you're bad. Because you think you're smarter than everyone.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, I mean, I don't know. Hopefully you guys, someone can make a bold move. I don't think it's going to happen this year, though.
I don't think so either. I think it's going to be next year when you see Trey come back after that injury and get injured again.
I was telling,
then they're going to get.
I was telling Raj. I told Raj in a text earlier. I don't know if you saw it, but I said you guys are going to trade for Kirk Cousins and then fire Shanahan, and then he'll never get to coach him.
Oh God, don't.
I got to run, but appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up here. I appreciate you for coming. I know you're so busy, but it's always great. Both of you guys, it's always great.
I appreciate you
guys. I know you guys are busy, and I always hit you up like join. I know I tell you, you guys probably get tired of me, but I love having you guys on. That's what it's all about. The Quad Box. We're a big, this is the show. I love you guys. So appreciate you guys for hopping on, man.
Hey, can I make Shanahan take a lap?
Take a city.
We need some.
Let's do it, baby.
Okay, ready? Kyle Shanahan, Take a lap.
Take a fucking lap.
Take a lap. He needs to.
Full panic mode. Full panic mode, everybody.
No, not yet.
All right, later.
Yeah, we go, man. Vlad, any final words, my man?
I hope we get it. I hope this team gets a W going into the bye week next week. Because if they can't get this dub, then you really need to hit the panic button.
Honestly,
you need to drop the sales and.
Yeah, I agree, man. This was again. My final takeaway is there was so much hype this week, so much to play for. Like everybody was just geeked up out of their mind. Like I almost went and bought a ticket. Like I'm gonna buy 2 tickets. I have my daughter here, so I was like, if I go, I gotta buy 2 tickets. I was looking at it. I was like, I'm gonna sleep on it. I woke up and I know she still had a lot of work. Like she had a lot of schoolwork to do. So I was like, okay, stay home. I was gonna be the bad dad and take her, go and hang out and have a good time. But she wants to focus on her studies. So thankfully she's a smart kid. Otherwise we would have went. But man, I was about to drop like $1,000 today on the game, food, parking tickets, all that stuff. I'm glad I didn't because that was a letdown, man. That was a letdown.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Raj, I appreciate you very much for having me on. Every time you do, I'll make sure to try to jump on as more often, especially.
I just love coming on. It's always good because the fans love you guys. They love all of us. It's not just me, all you guys. They make the show special. It's just, it's a good way to bounce topics. Sometimes you guys say,
and dude, you're over 7,000.
No, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. I love it. But yeah, appreciate it, man. Bro's coming on.
I appreciate you.
East Coast, your time zone is different, so it is what it is, man.
I appreciate you, dude. Thank you so much.
Hey, anytime. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for tonight. What a show, huh? This was a good one. We almost went for 2 hours today. Holy God, hour and a half. You guys sat here and listened to us talk to you for an hour and a half. I appreciate you. 7K. I do want to say I appreciate you guys so much. 202,000 on Instagram. Holy shit. 37K on Twitter. You guys are the best. I love you. This was a tough loss, but hopefully we can bounce back from it. Next week, Rams is not going to be easy, but I know the Niners play the Rams well. It's a good way to bounce back, right? A good win against the Rams would fix a lot. And Vlad just texted me. He says maybe the best show after a loss. LOL. I think so. This was a good show after a loss. But yeah, we got a good game next week. Let's hope the Niners rebound. I mean, that's all we can hope for. But I love you guys, and appreciate you. Hit the like button. That's one thing I need y'all to do. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Just hit it. Just hit the like button. You guys hit the like button for Grant Cohn. Why can't you hit the like button for your boy? Right? You guys hit that like. I see it. Grant Cohn be getting all these likes. So hit the like button on my post too. If you like Grant Cohn and you like me, hit my like button too. That's it. I love you. Have a good ass night. Appreciate you. Bang, bang. Niner gang. Hit the like button. Even if you hate today's loss. I love you.